Hi there, Paul Harrington here. I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about the nervous system. And the reason I wanted to do that was to build on my little series of talks about resilience. So knowing something about the nervous system and how it makes us feel is quite important in terms of potentially changing the way you feel. Because if you understand how and why you might feel a certain way, it gives you some kind of control over to what to change to make that feel better for you, especially at the moment when we're all kind of locked up and not able to be with each other in person. So very basically, the nervous system gives us three options of behaviour. And I'm going to draw a little ladder on the board here just to help illustrate that. So we have three types of behaviour. We have behaviours that immobilise us, so slow us down. We have behaviours that mobilise us, which speed us up. And then we have behaviours that are about social engagement and connection and openness. So there's three really basic kind of behaviours, and our whole repertoire of how we behave and react to people in the world is kind of built out of those three very basic ingredients. So it's important to know this because these behaviours all have consequences when they're used as a response to stress. Okay, so the first, at the bottom of the ladder, there's the immobilizing behaviours. So I'm just going to put immob. Those are behaviours that slow us down. So when we want to sit down, relax, eat food, be with people, those kind of behaviours are associated with that. In its defence mode, it causes shutdown, freeze, immobilizing, and it has feelings associated with depression and isolation and that kind of thing. So that's the first one. The second one is mobilizing behaviours. So I'm just going to put mob. And those kind of behaviours, when they're used in a defence context, produce the kind of things that we would associate with the fight or flight response. So we get angry or fight against a stressful situation or run to escape. Okay, and also in a normal context, the mobilizing behaviours are what enables us to get up out the chair and go and wash the car or go play a game of football or something like that. Now the top state is called social behaviour. I call it the social engagement system. Okay, and that's when we're in this mode, we are really open to connection with other people. We're relaxed, mostly happy, can feel connected, safe. Safe is a big word there. And this is the most advanced sort of state of function that we have. And when we're functioning from this level, it manages the other two levels. So when we're stimulated to mobilize, like when we're doing something exciting or playing sport or playing, it's managed by this top system. Okay. Or on the bottom system, when we are feeling like we can be still and relaxed and chill out, it's being managed by this top system again. It manages the other two. what happens in a really stressful situation is that this top bit goes offline a little bit, and when that happens, we go down. First of all, the first port of call is from being open and happy, and in the social engagement, we go down into fight or flight. That's mobilizing, and you'll recognize that feeling of when you can't maintain your calm anymore, your balance, or your equilibrium. You'll suddenly feel panic, the heart rate will come up, the muscles tense, it's hard to think, and you'll want to either, you want to respond in some way. And that's the mobilizing fight-flight response, okay? And if that doesn't work in whatever situation, the nervous system shifts again into the most primitive type of defense, which is the immobilizing defense. And in that particular mode, the story is this is safety, the middle one is danger, and this is threat to life. So in this situation, the automatic response of the system is to close down, to freeze, and to pretend you're dead, basically, in the hope of avoiding further damage. So you can imagine, even in an evolutionary context, if you've been attacked by a bear and there's a huge bear and you're cornered, there's no way of fighting or running away, the best thing to do is not to go for it anyway, because you're likely to die. But what you can do is just freeze, feign death, be as small and as quiet as you can, and that may well save you, and that's why it's organised in this way. But the immobilizing mode, the bottom mode, in defence, so it's freeze, shut down, isolation, and that carries with it the feelings of depression and loneliness, or giving up hope or pointlessness. We can all associate feeling that way at one time or another. Whereas the mobilizing one, in defense or in fear, is all about feeling really anxious, stressed out, and yes, it's those feelings. And quite often we can get stuck between the bottom one and the top. So we sort of circulate between feeling rubbish and shut down, angry, scared, frightened, can't change anything, dropping back down to here, and it's really sometimes difficult to get up to the top. But the thing to remember is that there is sequence in this. So if you're feeling down, you have to at some point go through this mobilizing mode here to get back up to the open safety of the social engagement system. And this top one is all about really connecting with other people, or being open to connection. And there's lots of things that we can do to send cues of safety to ourselves, which make this system kind of bigger and more open and more available to us. So knowing that when we're shut down, we have to do something to mobilize first to get up to the place where we want to be, which is in the social engagement system of calm and rationality. It might mean that you then know that you have to do something like getting up and going for a walk, or putting some music on that might sort of pick you up a bit in order to sort of like galvanize a little bit of activity before you can move up to the social engagement system at the top. So one of the practices that I want to suggest that we can do is just to note for ourselves where we are on this ladder, because we all move up and down this ladder at different times of the day. We feel excited and engaged when the social engagement system is managing, or we can feel intimate and close with a friend when the social engagement system is managing, or we can feel a bit lonely and lost when the social engagement system isn't managing, or we can feel a bit anxious and scared and worried, again, when the social engagement system isn't managing. So it's quite a useful thing to just track for yourself as you go through the day where you might be on this little ladder of feelings. And the reason is that when you get better at identifying where you are, it can then really help. It gives you some sense of what's happening, some clarity. It doesn't feel like you're just all over the place. You have a map, kind of a map that you can refer to, and where you are and where you need to go, which gives some sense of well, it's control. It's a little bit more control, and it's not quite so stressful. So have a go at that, and I'll talk a bit more about other strategies to give us little exercises and games and meditations to make this part of your nervous system bigger. And in a sense, that's one way of describing resilience, how to stay anchored in this top system in a way that manages the others but doesn't make the system go offline, so you flip into just mobilizing or flipping into just immobilizing, but you're staying in this and the overarching control of this top social engagement system. I know that's a bit complicated, but there we are. Hope you enjoyed it.